One man, one dumb decision, one angry god. What could possibly go wrong? A 2-week trip, it turns into a 10-year nightmare. How does that even happen? Stick around, because it all comes down to one tiny catastrophic mistake. This is my favorite story ever told. But first, who is this idiot we're following? His name is Odysseus. He's the smartest man in Greece. He's the one who ended the Trojan War. The 10-year war fought at the city of Troy with the famous wooden horse trick. Genius, right? Remember that, because he's about to look like a total fool. The whole story was written by a blind poet named Homer around 700 BC. And here's the wild part. That war ended almost 500 years before Homer was even born. Back in 1184 BC. 5 centuries. And Homer describes it like he was standing right there on the beach. Honestly, I'd give anything to see what was going on inside that man's head. It only gets wilder from here. Anyway, Odysseus just wants to get home. Home is a small rocky island called Ithaca, where his wife Penelope is waiting. 2-week trip, tops. He packs 12 ships and sails off happy. Here's the thing about these guys. They had just won the Trojan War. They were sailing home with all the gold of Troy, rich beyond their wildest dreams. And somehow, it still wasn't enough. They were so greedy they had to stop at the very first city they passed, a place called Ismarus, and plundered that one too. And they win. Easy. They grab the treasure, they take everything, so do they leave while they're ahead? Of course not. These fools throw a party on the beach instead. You can practically hear Odysseus begging them, "Guys, come on, let's just go." Nope. Wine, singing, all night long. Big mistake. The locals regroup, come back with an army, and slaughter a chunk of his men. And right there is the pattern that haunts this whole trip. The second things go well, greed and stupidity ruin it. Watch for it. It keeps happening. They flee, get blown off course, and drift somewhere much stranger. Where to next? An island of people called the Lotus Eaters. They seem friendly. Too friendly. They hand the crew a flower to eat, and one bite wipes your memory clean. You forget your home, your family, your own name, and you just want to lie there, happy forever. A few of his men eat it and simply melt into the sand. You call out, "Hey, we're leaving!" and they don't even look up. Odysseus drags them back to the ships, kicking and drooling, and sails off fast. But the next island? That's where it all goes wrong. They spot a cave. It's cozy. It's stuffed with cheese and fat sheep. Free food, so the hungry crew helps themselves. Huge mistake, because this is the home of a Cyclops. That's a giant with one enormous eye in the middle of his forehead. His name is Polyphemus, and here's the detail that changes everything. His dad is Poseidon, the god of the sea. So the giant lumbers home. He rolls a boulder over the door to trap them. Then he leans down and booms. "Who are you? Where do you come from?" And he grabs 2 of the crew and eats them whole. 2 men at a time. So how does Odysseus escape? He's brilliant. First, he offers the giant strong, dark wine and gets him blackout drunk. And the Cyclops, all woozy, mumbles, "You've been good to me, little man. Tell me your name and I'll eat you last." Oh, generous. And Odysseus leans in sweet as honey and says, "My name is Nobody. Everyone calls me Nobody." Then, while the giant snores, they sharpen a giant wooden stake, heat the tip red in the fire, and drive it straight into that one huge eye. The giant screams. He howls so loud the other Cyclops come running to his cave. "Polyphemus, what's wrong?" they shout. "Is somebody hurting you?" And he screams back, "Nobody. Nobody's hurting me." So they just shrug and go home. "Well, if nobody's hurting you," they say, "then quit screaming." The crew slips out, clinging to the bellies of the sheep, and row for the ship. They're free. And then Odysseus ruins his own life. He can't help himself. He stands up on the deck and screams back at the island. "If anyone asks who blinded you, tell them Odysseus. Odysseus of Ithaca." Why would you do that? Pure ego. And it is the worst mistake of his life. Because the blind giant lifts his hands to the sky and prays to his father. And Poseidon, god of the sea, hears every word. So the sea god makes him a promise. "You want to go home, Odysseus? Then I will turn the whole ocean against you. From this second on, every storm, every monster, every wrong turn, It's all Poseidon. Remember those 12 ships? Watch what happens now. First, a gift. They meet Aeolus, the god who controls the winds. He feels sorry for them, so he traps every storm wind inside a bag and hands it over, leaving one gentle breeze to blow them home. And it works. 9 days later, they can see Ithaca. Home is right there on the horizon. And then Odysseus falls asleep. And his crew? They start whispering. Look at that bag he's guarding. It's treasure. It's gold. He's keeping the gold for himself. Let's just take a peek. So they open it, and every storm on Earth explodes out at once and blasts them all the way back to the start. So close. Wrecked by his own men. Then it gets worse. They meet the Laestrygonians, giants who eat people, and they smash 11 of his 12 ships in minutes. 12 ships. Now he has one. And Poseidon is only getting started. But first, one quick thing. Are you enjoying this? Then do me one tiny favor. Hit that subscribe button. Think of it like leaving a trail of breadcrumbs. Tap it, and you'll always find your way back to stories like this one. Unlike Odysseus, you'll actually make it home. It's free, it doesn't hurt, and it genuinely helps me out. Okay, one ship, an angry sea god. Let's keep going. That last ship lands on an island that belongs to Circe, a witch. And her hobby? Turning men into pigs. Real, actual pigs. She does it to half the crew the second they walk in. Odysseus marches up to save them, but a god gives him a magic herb that blocks her spell. So her magic just bounces right off him. She's stunned, she's impressed, and then they fall in love, and he stays a whole year. A year! And that's part of the answer to our big question. How does a 2-week trip eat up 10 years? Like this. Finally, his crew shakes him awake. Odysseus, it has been a year. What about Ithaca? What about your wife? So Circe agrees to help, but the way home comes with a nightmare. First, he has to sail to the land of the dead. Yeah, the underworld. To get home, he has to go down there and find a prophet, a person who can see the future. Except this one is a ghost. So Odysseus sails to the very edge of the world and calls up the dead, and the ghost gives him his directions. Plus, one warning. The ghost stares at him and says, "You can still reach home, Odysseus. But when you land on the island of the sun god, do not touch his cattle. Eat those cows, and every last man with you will die." Lock that away, because his crew is about to forget it. But not yet. Then it's back to the surface and straight into 2 of the deadliest monsters in the sea. First, the Sirens. They're creatures who sing, but their song is so beautiful that sailors steer their ships straight into the rocks just to get closer, and they drown. Odysseus wants to hear that song and live, so he gets clever again. He plugs his crew's ears with wax so they hear nothing, and he has them tie him to the mast, the tall wooden pole in the middle of the ship. "Whatever I do," he warns them, "do not untie me." Then the singing starts. "Odysseus, come closer. We know all that you long for. Come to us." And he absolutely loses his mind. "Untie me. Untie me! That is an order!" But his crew's ears are full of wax. They just row harder. He survives it. But right after comes an impossible choice. A narrow channel, a monster on each side. On one side, Charybdis, a giant whirlpool that swallows the whole sea. On the other, Scylla, a monster with 6 heads. He can't dodge both. So he steers towards Scylla, and she snatches 6 men off the deck and eats them alive. He knew she would. He just didn't warn them. And now, down to a handful of starving men, they spot land. The one island the prophet told him to avoid. Remember the warning? Don't eat the sun god's cattle. This is that island. It's covered in them. The sacred cattle of Helios, the sun god. Odysseus says it as clearly as a man can say anything, "Do not touch them." And everyone agrees. But then, a storm traps them here. They pass. The food runs out. They are starving. And while Odysseus is asleep, his desperate crew finally cracks. They eat the cows. And the punishment is instant. The moment they set sail, Zeus, the king of the gods, hurls down a lightning bolt and blows the ship to splinters. Every single crewman drowns. 12 ships, over 600 men at the start, and now, just him, alone, floating on a plank. So where do the last 7 years go? Here. He washes up on an island that belongs to Calypso. She's a nymph, basically a minor goddess. She falls for him, and she refuses to let him leave. For 7 years. There it is, the rest of your decade. 1 year with Circe, 7 with her. And she offers him the ultimate bribe. Stay with me, Odysseus. I will make you immortal. You will never grow old. You will never die. Just don't leave me. Immortality, forever. Sounds like a dream, right? But really think about it. Everyone you love grows old and dies, and you just keep going, alone, forever. Suddenly, it's not such a great gift. He says no. He sits on the beach and cries toward home. Until finally, a goddess steps in, Athena, goddess of wisdom, and Odysseus' secret protector this whole time. She talks the other gods into setting him free. One last kind kingdom sails him home. 10 years, he made it. Happy ending, right? Not even close. Because while he was gone for 20 years, everyone assumed he was dead. So his house got taken over. Over 100 men moved in. They're called the suitors. Men all competing to marry his wife, Penelope. They eat his food. They drink his wine. His baby son is now a grown man. And Penelope? She is just as clever as her husband. She stalled all 100 of these men for years with one genius trick. She told them, "I'll choose a new husband the day I finish weaving this burial cloth." But every single night, in secret, she unravels everything she wove that day, so it is never finished. She fooled 100 men with a sewing project. But the trick is running out, and Odysseus has to get inside, past 100 enemies without being spotted. So how does he do it? The goddess Athena disguises him as an old beggar. Ragged clothes, wrinkled skin. Nobody looks twice. He walks right into his own home. Then comes the trap. Penelope announces a contest. String Odysseus' giant bow and shoot one arrow through 12 axe heads in a row and win her hand. Every shooter tries, every shooter fails. And then the old beggar picks up the bow. He strings it like it's nothing. He fires one arrow, clean through all 12. The room goes dead silent. He rips off the disguise and he says, "The contest is over. Now I aim at a new target." And the greatest warrior in Greece turns that bow on the 100 men who wrecked his home. It is a bloodbath. Best day he's had in 20 years. So how does a 2-week trip become a 10-year nightmare? Now you know. One cave, one giant, one name he just had to shout. That single mistake cost him 12 ships, 600 men, and 10 years of his life. But he made it home. He proved who he was, and he finally slept in his own bed. The lesson? Never give the sea god your name. Or, even easier, maybe just stay home. That was the true story of the Odyssey. If you had fun, subscribe, because next time I'll tell you how this whole war even started. And trust me, that one's even messier. See you next time.